Yeah. Was I faithful then? Yeah. What makes you think I've changed? You see, so often I try to do things in my own strength. I try to do my own effort. And it comes to God's time to remind me, like, hey, that's not the point. The point when I'm like, God, I can't do this. Like, yeah, now you're getting it. You know, I messed up with this so much, even last week, as I was writing this message. I knew I wanted to talk about this verse. As I'm starting to try to write down my thoughts, I'm like, God, I don't know what to say. God, I know this verse. I just nothing's flowing. Can't connecting the dots. I said, hey, what verse are you talking about? Like, Psalm 46:10. How about you start there? Reach the need to constantly remember God. To constantly just turn back to God. To remember Him. Just seek Him in prayer. Now, this doesn't mean to be passive. You don't just kind of passively sit there. But it means to be actively still. Just sit there, to actively be still, to know God. So I ask you, where do you need to stop? Where do you need to cease striving to be still? Continuing from this, I want to look at a passage from 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 17 through 20. To give you the backstory, it's the letter of Paul written to the church in Corinth. Corinth is a city in Greece. It's across the Aegean Sea from Ephesus. It was a port city, it's a center of trade. It was also a place of a lot of temple worship, a lot of worship of pagan idols, a lot of temple prostitution. So much so that the phrase Corinthian girls started being used throughout the Roman Empire as another term for prostitute. And Paul was writing to this little church of mostly new Gentile believers who weren't really sure how their faith fit in with their lives, how, now that they believed in Jesus, what that meant for how they lived. And they weren't really sure, now that they had faith, how did that affect their interactions with people around them? How did they fit into their society, into their culture? What did all this mean? And so, to them, starting verse 17, Paul writes, if anyone is in Christ, there's a new creation. Everything old has passed away. See, everything has become new. All this was from God. So Paul writes to them saying, hey, you're a new creation. All the old is past. You're new. I remember in 3rd grade, I had this great teacher named Mr. Sanchez. And I remember 3rd grade was the year when we studied a lot of Native American cultures. I remember at one point, we talked about the society and the kind of culture, different things. At one point, we had this lady come in who was from the Sioux tribe, I believe. She talked to us about her people and her people's history and her people's culture. And I remember one of the kind of culminating events of 3rd grade was at the end of the year, Mr. Sanchez, who I believe was part Navajo, would give everyone their Native American name. There's this thing he's look forward to all year now. He's going to give us his name. That after a year of working with everyone, kind of having us in class, getting to know us, kind of a name he would give to everyone, kind of symbolize how they saw you. And I remember as we waited for this day to come, and finally it came, and the name I got was Brilliant Sun. Which you might think was because I had red hair. But the funny thing was, so 3rd grade, I was not exactly your best student. I got C's in most subjects. I hated reading. I faked a couple book reports. I saw the movie. I didn't actually read the book. Mr. Sanchez, I'll write through that. I had really awful handwriting, I remember. Also, I learned that somehow in my first grade, on the day when they teach you how to hold a pencil, I was like sick or something. Because I was like in third grade, they held a pencil all kinds of like awkwardly. Mr. Sanchez got one of those little plastic pencil topper things that like shows you how to like properly hold your pencil. And he said, hey, here, have this. And he said, hey, your handwriting, you should try harder. You can do better than that. And remember, so it struck me the fact that Mr. Sanchez believed in me. He didn't look at my past performance. He didn't judge my grade, my efforts. But he looked at me and he saw what I was capable of, what he thought I could do, and he called me by that. That was the name he gave. We see this a lot with Jesus too, where he looks at us and he doesn't call us by our past, by what we've done. If you look at the Gospels, one of the names Jesus never uses for somebody is sinner. What's your Native American name? What's the new identity that Jesus has created for you? Remember that you're a new creation in Christ. Continuing from that passage. All right. All this is from God, who reconciled us to himself through Christ and has given us the ministry of reconciliation. That is, in Christ, God was reconciling the world to himself, not counting their trespasses against them, and entrusting the message of reconciliation to us. So we are ambassadors for Christ. Since God is making his appeal through us, we entreat you on behalf of Christ, be reconciled to God. And so we see in this passage, the word that Paul keeps using over and over again is the word reconcile, which is the translation of the Greek word katalasso, which means to change thoroughly, or to adjust to someone else or to some standard. And through Jesus, we've been reconciled to God. We've been brought back. We've been changed thoroughly. Jesus has already done the work. When he died on the cross, and he said, "It is finished," he meant what he said. And as he died on the cross, the veil in the temple, which stood between the Holy of Holies, where the presence of God was, and the rest of humanity, was torn in two. And because of Jesus and his sacrifice, there's no longer a barrier between us. That if we will turn to Jesus, we have access to God, that we can be brought back to God, that we can be changed thoroughly. My question is, where have you not yet experienced the fullness of Jesus' victory? We're all still in progress, but I encourage you, contend for this. Don't just sit by. Don't be content to be partially, thoroughly changed, but to fight for this, to seek God for this, to pray for this. Paul goes beyond our own reconciliation, the fact that we've been brought back to God, and he writes for people to be the toaster. Beta. By the way, it's Beta. So Paul writes for us to be the toaster. What does a toaster do? It makes toast. You see, for a toaster, its name and its function are connected. For a toaster, its identity and its purpose are related. And that just as we have been reconciled to God, part of our reconciliation, part of being brought back to God, means we are to reconcile people. Paul writes that we've been given the ministry of reconciliation, that we are to go out. That since the beginning, God's plan for creation has been a plan of redemption. That since the fall, all that God has been doing has been moving towards reconciliation to draw all of creation, all of humanity back to himself. We've been given the message of reconciliation, which is the gospel. The message that Jesus came and died for us that we might be able to be with God to save us from ourselves. We've been entrusted with this gospel